The humble side quest, where would RPGs be without them? The plot might drive the narrative and carry the emotional weight, but there's only so much ground it can cover, and with developers putting hundreds, even thousands of hours into developing expansive, fully fleshed out worlds as real as the one outside your front door, it'd be a shame to let all that extra work go to waste. There's also a chance for an otherwise serious story to take a break from the relentless drama and allow the player a much needed breather, and nothing releases the tension better than having a laugh. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are the 10 funniest side quests in video games. Number 10. Passport to Pizza, Yakuza Zero. Think of the most absurd, offbeat, ludicrous side quest that can be set in our contemporary world, and not only will Yakuza Zero almost certainly have it, it will trump even your wildest imaginings. Straight-faced protagonist Kazuma Kiryu encounters a woman who's run away from her abusive boss. The problem is, her Japanese is poor, and what she's asking sounds uncannily like pizza. This obviously makes no sense, but through extraordinary laugh-out-loud mental gymnastics that's absurd as it is brilliant, Kiryu comes to the conclusion that yes, she does in fact want a nice fresh pizza. Delivery duty completed, he learns that no, she wants a visa, not a pizza. Then her boss arrives, Kiryu beats him up to make up for his mistake. The boss reveals that no, he's actually in love with her and asks her to marry him. She agrees, and wouldn't you know it, the three celebrate with a slice of pizza. Farcical as it sounds, Yakuza Zero somehow pulls it off, landing the humor while expertly threading the needle between the potentially offensive and downright idiotic, and topping it off by sneaking in a truly heartwarming finale to boot. Nicely done, Yakuza Zero. Nicely done indeed. Number 9. One really bad day, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong, so states Murphy's Law. Trade Murphy for his angry, mean-spirited cousin, and one really bad day is the result. Part of the Lost Tales of Greece DLC line, this quest has the Eagle Bearer trying to help a village suffering the dual misfortune of being under the threat from pirates while being taken for the mother of all rides by an imposter, forcing the real Eagle Bearer to clean up the mess. If only Murphy's evil cousin didn't get in the way. The Eagle Bearer deals with attacking pirates only to learn that those were reinforcements. They help a blind blacksmith to get his equipment back, only for him to trip and be crushed under those same tools. They fetch the general's horse, only for the owner to ride it off a cliff, believing it to be a Pegasus. And because things couldn't get any worse, the hero hired to train the villagers believes his helmet is fireproof and demands you set him on fire to prove it. It's the darkest of black comedy, a series of events so absurd you'll either be laughing your head off or shaking it in sheer disbelief. Number 8. Honeyed Words, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Amorous Adventures. If you hated Romeo and Juliet, especially the morbidly melodramatic balcony scene, and wish that someone somewhere would create a half-decent lampoon of it, then you are in for a treat. The central quest of the amorous adventures of bold Sir Hans Capon DLC, Honeyed Words has you helping the titular Sir Hans in his bold venture to woo the local butcher's daughter. One thing leads to another, and the next thing you know, you're stealing eggs and rosaries in exchange for a snake oil selling charlatan crafting you a love potion. In order to ensure that he'll have all the honeyed words he needs, Sir Hans tasks you with learning the finest in flowery poetry. Poetry the incompetent Don Juan wannabe badly mangles. When his caterwauling brings the attention of her father, the bold Sir Hans promptly bails, leaving you to explain your way out of the mess while Sir Hans and the fair maiden get rather noisily busy in the bedroom above, which you can hilariously attempt to deflect by loudly singing gibberish. And so is Romeo and Juliet at last done right. Number 7. The Game, Fable 3. Three magi task the hero with rescuing a fair princess from an evil baron, but to do so must transfer the hero to another plane of existence. The hero wakes to find the three magi looming over them and a village populated by tabletop board game cardboard cutouts. Turns out the magi are three geeks, and the player has just been suckered into playing a session of Hollows and Hobbs, Fable's take on the legendary Dungeons and Dragons. What follows is a brilliant self-deprecating parody of everything RPG, from cliched quests like a milkmaid hankering for a handsome prince, to the use of the ever-faithful skeleton as cannon fodder, to the DM's oft cringeworthy descriptions, and their eternal battle with backseat DMs. No trope is safe. While it could easily have become a tiresome, insulting, unfunny mess, committed voice acting and genuinely sharp wit mean that the game earns its laughs while paying full respect to one of the granddaddies of the genre. Number 6. The Day Deathwing Came, World of Warcraft. The Day Deathwing Came is a classic case of what happens when 3 man-children get into an argument over who has the biggest biceps. Make the crux of the argument the slaying of the biggest, baddest dragon in Warcraft, and the result needs to be seen to be believed. First, we have the dwarf, Theldurin the Last, who claims to have fought his way through a throng of elementals and punched Deathwing in the face. Not to be outdone, his mate Lucian Tosselwrench, compensating for his diminutive gnomish stature, claims he used a device to turn into a giant, then yanked Deathwing out of the sun and threw him into Kalimdor. But the best is saved for last. Martek the Exiled, an orc, jumps aboard his custom chopper, babe in hand, and flies, yes flies, his motorcycle at Deathwing with every intention of getting into a knife fight with a dragon. Hilariously, the game lets you act all of this out. You actually get to fly a motorcycle, stomp about the Badlands as a giant, and yes, even punch the Deathwing in the face. It's gloriously stupid and stupidly fun, an artful lampooning of the oft fragile male ego and the ludicrous lengths some gents will go to cover it up. Number 5. All My Friends Have Off Switches, Fallout New Vegas, Old World Blues. Your basic task is simple: recover the personality modules for the sinks, think a home base, extra utilities, and install them. With the modules scattered around the map, this can be a mite tedious, but the reward is well worth the wait because the personalities are pure gold. You have to name a few: the 2 cultured, flirtatious, and feuding light switches, the wise old blues musician, a jukebox, the toaster who wants to drown the world in apocalyptic nuclear fire, and best of all, Muggy, a neurotic, highly self-aware, sentient miniature Securitron who's obsessed, as his name suggests, with mugs. The dialogue is smart and the bickering riotous, gracing the player with an oddball crew of characters who are among the most entertaining, endearing, and unique in all of New Vegas. Number 4. The Play's the Thing, Jade Empire. On the surface, this is a quest meant to be taken seriously. The title is from Hamlet, a play not exactly known for being a barrel of laughs. But with the rather pretentious playwright telling you with a completely straight face that it is the norm for female characters to be portrayed by men, or in the case of female actors, by women with the decency to pretend to be men, you know BioWare is nudging you to have a bit of fun. See, your job is to perform the role of Lady 14 Flowers, who represents a recently conquered empire in the court of the first emperor. Roll with the ad-libbed responses offered to you, and the performance is transformed into an absolute goldmine of laughs, allowing you to claim, among other things, that the emperor declared peace because he got bored and came to this momentous decision while indisposed on the toilet, forcing your poor co-performer into a hilarious mental contortion as he tries to mesh this facetious nonsense with the now thoroughly mangled script. Number 3. Paper Chase, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine. Protagonist Geralt learns that he's come into money, which simply needs to be withdrawn at the local bank. Problem is, once he gets there, he learns that he's been declared dead and needs a permit to reactivate the account. And so the fun begins. Because this is a bank and banks mean bureaucracy, forcing Geralt to trudge from reception to customer services, then onto records, only to be told he needs to fill out a form that needs to be retrieved from, you guessed it, the customer service desk he just left, where, wouldn't you know it, problem is that he's still legally dead. Older viewers will be curled up in a fetal position whimpering. Luckily, a bottle of perfume and some suave Witcher flirting gets Geralt moving and soon has his cash, after dealing with a treacherous bank manager who, of course, had already spent it on bad investments. You can't win. You just can't. Number 2, A Night to Remember, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. After a mage named Sam Gorven tempts you into a drinking contest that you apparently win, you wake up in a thoroughly trashed temple of Dibella with an extremely annoyed priestess standing over you. The mess, it turns out, is your fault. The result of an episode of cross-eyed drunkenness that included fondling a statue of Dibella herself. No wonder the priestess is angry. It gets worse though. You find out that you sold a goat quote with the dialogue written such that you briefly believe you sold a person to a giant and apparently proposed to a hag raven who's waiting to, consummate your love. How your horribly inebriated self did all this is left to your imagination, but learning that you've been entertaining the demon lord of debauchery at last makes sense of the madness, leaving this a quest to remember indeed for you, if not your badly embarrassed character. Number 1. The Dawn Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Borderlands has always been known for its twisted sense of humor, but with the pre-sequel, the game's Aussie developers put their own spin on the formula, resulting in a right old Jaffa of a quest. The Dawn tasks you with helping an oddly dressed gent win a game of Snicket, which involves slogging a ball into the wild blue yonder while running back and forth and spouting the kind of adult gibberish best described as drunken accounting. But it's that very nonsense that makes it funny, because everything from the game Snicket, obviously cricket, but also a reference to the feather-like contract between ball and bat, to the gleeful digs at the game's nigh impenetrable jargon, where 2 for 184 against in the 4th over, and the eccentric quirks of the rules, like you get the other team in so that you can get them out so that you can get in, are lovingly crafted wisecracks that will have any fan of the game in stitches. Sure, if you're not a fan, you'll be left baffled, but if you are, then this will be the funniest and the best video game quest you'll ever embark on. That's the end of our list, but let me know down in that comment section if you can think of any other very funny side quests in video games. As always, I've been Jess from WhatCulture. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like, you can come say hi to me on my Twitter account where I'm at Jess McDonald, but make sure you stay tuned to us here for plenty more gaming goodness.